In this video segment, we're going to show another way to set up a new prime contract, which would include the job cost codes, the budgets, the revenue budget, schedule of values. We're also going to show how to select a contract type, the import template that we're going to use in Microsoft Excel format, and we're also going to show how to edit or add information to the prime contract header, including scope and retention. The wizard we're using is from the Contract Admin Wizard, and you'll find it here next to the Contract Admin Wizard Start Now button. You also have over on the Prime Contracts Actions, it's the second option. It's actually the same wizard. Additionally, I've already set up a project, but I could also use this same wizard. If I go to All Projects and go to Actions, there is a project setup wizard here as well. The project is the first part, the first 8 steps. The Contract Admin Setup Wizard starts at the end of that, included in the same wizard at step 9. Today we're going to use the one that's found in the Projects and in Contract Admin, and we're going to use the Start Now button. Before we do, I've already set up the project, and I already have one prime contract already set up in this project. To find the import templates, if you don't already have one, we suggest you go to the Help Articles, go to Getting Started, and the Corecon import options from Microsoft Excel. If you go down to the Contract Admin Wizard, there is an article with a lot of samples that you can choose from, or you can create your own from one of these templates. The one I'm using in this webinar is closest to the CSI 2016 divisions, but I'm using divisions and majors. The import template will look something like this. And I've added 2 extra columns to mine for owner codes so I can illustrate how those work. For the most part, the job cost codes are going to show in these columns to the left. These are project specific, so I can go in and make changes to these descriptions. And if I go to the far right, I see my master cost codes. These have already been uploaded into global settings, and these do match the ones that I have already uploaded. These are not project specific. These should tie and match those master cost codes in global settings. So I'm going to leave these alone. I also have a place for my cost budgets, which are in red. Remember that a cost budget does not include fee, markup, overhead, or profit. This is also the original contract budget, so there's also no cost budgets for change orders. You'll also notice the green column is the revenue budget, or what most would call the schedule of values. The schedule of values for each line item has the markup, the fee, the overhead, and profit built in. I did use a formula, and when I import this, Corecon is only going to import the value, not the formula. But you'll notice that the cost on any one line item is less than the revenue, and the goal there is to make a little profit. If you scroll down here to the summary at the bottom, $75,000 is the contract amount in green. The total of all the budgets, $60,000. I'm projecting a gross profit of $15,000. You'll also notice there's a place to add labor hour budgets. These are hours only, not dollars, and basically any line that has dollar amount in the labor base cost budget should probably have a labor hour budget, but labor hour budgets are optional. There's also a place for equipment hour budgets if you choose. If you go back over to the left, I've added from the help article 2 columns, one for owner cost code, one for owner cost code description. The job cost codes in column B and C are the cost codes that you usually see on a daily basis. These are basically your internal cost codes if you decide to use owner codes as well. Owner codes is a way to overlay your customer or client or project owner's requested schedule of value on top of yours to make sure that they get exactly what they're asking for. In this case, we're going to assume that the project owner or the client has asked for a schedule of values totaling the same $75,000, but only 5 line items. So when I I will have the option to print any of the schedule of values, change orders, prime invoices, and so on based on an owner cost code, which would be the owner's schedule of values, on your internal cost code, which in this case is the job cost codes. I also have the option to print it based on this sequential order number, and I could also print a schedule of values based on the division codes from the master cost code set. Since I'm using an owner code, Corecon is going to go to the green column and subtotal each of these groups because the number and the descriptions are the same. It'll subtotal that and create one line item. When we're done, you'll see we only have 5 line items if we opt to use the owner cost code or the owner schedule values. Before I finish, I want to go through and just delete a few of these rows that I'm not going to be using. They have no dollar amounts on them, so I don't need them. I'm also going to renumber the amounts in this left column. This is just a sequential order number. One of the options to print out schedule values is this sequential order number. And I'm also going to delete all of these subtotals and notes at the bottom because they will not import. Notice that the data that I'm importing is on the first tab in this workbook. I can have as many spreadsheets in here as I want, but Corecon only reads the first one, and it's titled Sheet 1, and there's no space between the word sheet and the number 1. I'm also in compatibility mode because I'm using an older file format. This is the Microsoft Excel 97 to 2003 file format. I'm just going to click Save, and then I'm going to click Close. Next, I'm going to go to the wizard. Again, I'm into the project. I've got a project already set up, and I've selected it. I'm on the Contract Admin landing page, and I'm going to use the Contract Admin Setup Wizard and click Start Now. The first thing I do is select the customer and the customer's contact. That's step 1. Next, I'm going to use the Excel method. This is the method that we use if it's your first time using Corecon. It makes it a lot easier to get your first few projects and contracts set up. So it's the Use Microsoft Excel import file. Then I'm going to click Next. And this would be your company and your contact in your company. This is contract number 2. I've already set one up. And this is going to be titled Interior. I do have the normal 4 contract types: fixed lump sum, cost plus without GMP, cost plus with GMP, unit price of billed quantities. I'm set up with this template to do any of these for fixed lump sum or cost plus. There is a separate import template in Excel for that contract type. So we're using fixed lump sum. I am going to give this an issue date and a status date, and click Save and Next. That was step 3. Step 4 is to import the spreadsheet. So I'm just going to click Choose File, and I'm going to select the contract template that we just set up in Excel. Information is automatically pulled in. I do have the option to eliminate revenue line items with non-zero totals, but I've already done that, so I'm going to leave that the way it is, and I'm going to click Finish. All 25 items have been imported. Next, I'm going to do a little edit on this header. There's some things that weren't in that wizard that I want to add. For example, I want to add a architect to the contract header and a contact, and probably a little more scope. I'm just going to copy this down, but we hope that you'll spend a little more time on scope than I am. Just going to do that to keep moving. I also have the inclusions, exclusions, and clarifications. I could manually type those. I could copy and paste into any of these. Or if you've already set up your scope templates and global settings, you can also import that more generic part of the scope directly from the global setting templates. And so my inclusions, exclusions, and clarifications were all filled in. I'm also going to select the work completed, retainage as a default, and I'm also going to add a default retainage for subcontractors. And click Save and Close. There's also a section near the bottom of the prime contract information page that will let me attach the documents. I've already uploaded 2, so I'm going to just go to the Import Drawings and Specs section, and notice there's a set of drawings. And while I'm here, I'm also going to import a set of specs. These were set up in the Drawing Specs and Invitations to Bid section of this project. I could add additional documents, but when you add documents, you're just adding the title. You're not actually adding an attachment. So even though it is based on the description of a PDF in this case, it's only the descriptions that are going to come in here, and you can add as many as you need. You can also add them manually just by typing them in. If you wanted to attach to the prime contract, especially when you email it, a linked file, you will need to do that under the linked files section. So documents are just titles. The linked files are actually a PDF if you choose to include them. Now that everything's set up, I want to go to the reports, prime contract details. I'm first going to print this fixed lump sum contract by the item detail. That's that number 1 through 25 that was down the left column. I'm also going to print preview it through a PDF, and I'm going to use the default. The default templates in Corecon are fixed, and there's no legal verbiage, so you'll want to customize your own boilerplate or templates in Microsoft Word and upload those to global settings so you can have your own legal verbiage. But if you come down to the contract items or schedule values, you'll see that it's 25 line items long, and in this case it's $75,000. These are usually the descriptions that you're used to seeing internally. It may not be the way your customer wants to see it. So we included owner codes for that reason, and if I go down to the same format and choose the item sum by owner code and print it again, it's the exact same document, but when I look at the schedule of values, now instead of 25 line items, there's 5 line items, but the contract value totals the same. I also have the option to email that document right from the same report window. If you'd like to know more about the information covered in this training video, we encourage you to go to the Help articles. Under Corecon, go to Leads and Projects, Contract Administration, and then the Prime Contract Budgets and Prime Contracts options.